Hi, hi everyone. Can everyone hear me? Please use the comment section. Don't unmute your mic. Please put your mics on mute so that we don't have this place crowded. Yeah. Okay. Fortune, are you ready to go?
Yes, I am.
I am. I've been.
Yes.
Hey.
So, do I have the floor?
Yeah, of course. Let me stop sharing and you can take over. How do you stop sharing?
Check your tab. Check your tab. Check your tab. Check your tab on your Mac. Check that. What do they call it? Okay. Welcome everybody. This is just a brief discussion on around Git and GitHub related tools. So I have a small slide here. I like the dark version, the dark mode. So as a developer, I mean, almost everybody likes it, that mode, except for one person I know. Okay, so let's just quickly jump into it. Git versus GitHub. What is Git? What is GitHub? So let me just quickly give a brief difference between Git and GitHub. So Git is a tool, right? Compared to GitHub. Git is just a tool for version control, really. So it could be a command, you can use it as a command tool, and you can also use it as, there's a desktop version of Git. And most OSs come with their own versions to like Windows and Mac. Linux too, I think Linux and Mac probably use the same embedded OS, like Linux. Mac uses Linux too as a command line tool. So That's what Git is all about. Git is all about a version control tool. So what is GitHub? Well, GitHub is like the Facebook of developers, right? GitHub is a place where you push your codes and just like a virtual representation of the history of your code. So it's just a place where you push your code, share it to the world, let people see it. More like a pass. What do I mean by a pass? Like a platform as a service or software as a service. So there are other um, competitors that compete against GitHub, like Gitbucket, and I don't know them off my head, but there are a lot of them out there. But GitHub seems to be the most popular one. GitHub, GitLab, and I think Gitbucket. Yeah, these are very popular ones. So let me show you exactly what I mean. So if we go right here, so this is, if you just go to github.com, this is what you're going to see. So it's just like a user interface where you have a lot of activities going on. You can see your repositories and the ones you just recently worked on, and just basically everything that there is to it's just a place like a Facebook for developers. I could just see that Tokwe just starred because I follow him and he follows me too. So I can see some of his activities here. He was talking about roadmap, and I know he talked about it just a few minutes ago. So you can basically see who you follow and the things they are up to, what they are working on, and their repository. You can see private repository, public repository. That's what GitHub is all about, really. So the other ones like Git buckets. So let's just jump straight into it because we're not here for stories. So Git, I have a project and I want to set up version control for it, right? So there are two types of scenarios. There are two scenarios here. Is it fresh project or is it an existing project? So for a fresh project, I just quickly wanted to do a demo. So let's say, so on GitHub, I can see the organizations I belong to. So let's say I just click here. Let me go back to my profile. My ugly face. So I go to my profile. So if I belong to any organization, I can just quickly see it here. So I belong to the Code Clown organization. So I'll just go right here. I want to quickly set up my environment, my working environment. So I'm working on the back end, or I choose to work on the back end. So I'll just go here. Please, I hope I'm not too fast though. Joe, if I'm too fast, just let me know. So this is the project. I'll pretend it's my first time of ever coming here. Oh, I like this project. I feel like I can contribute. So how do I go about it? But of course, I'm not contributing. I mean, I'm part of the organization. I'm part of the team working on this project. So there won't be any need for me to fork the project. We'll talk about the reasons why you would have to fork a project or something. But since I'm part of the team members on this project, so I could just easily clone it. Let's say I'm cloning it for the first time, right? I'm sure the term clone doesn't sound strange. It just means exactly what it means. Just like having a copy of something. So there are usually two terms when you talk about Git. There's the remote and then there's the local. The local is the copy of what you can play with. It might be in sync with the remote or it might not be in sync with the remote. So I want to have a copy of this project right now, and I want to have it on my local environment. So let me just go to the terminal real quick. I think I have it open here. So I want to clone that project. So I'll just go here, and I hope you guys can see my screen well enough. Let me push it up. So I'll just do a git. Oh, okay. By the way, if it's your first time of using Git, you won't have it in your in your command line, if it's your first time of using Git, if you've never downloaded Git before, it doesn't just come automatically. You have to actually install the Git tool. So like I said earlier, there are different versions for different operating systems. That for Mac, that for Windows. So you just download the one that speaks to your operating system. So I have the one for Mac. Once you download it and you install it, I mean, I don't want to start presenting that. That's just one of those things you should know. So, and you run this command, git dash dash version, or I think git dash v for, okay, I think git dash dash v, I don't know. So just try git dash dash version. You would see the version of the Git you're using, the Git tool you're using. So if you have that, you should be able to use the commands that are related to Git. So let's just quickly start with cloning. So I want to clone that particular project I just copied. So I can do this. I would say git clone and then I'll paste the URL. So if I press on enter now, it will create a project that has the same name as the name of the repository. But I mean, I might not like the name. I might want to have my own name for it. So it has a flag where you just punch in the name. So let me just say CCN Code Clan Nigeria API, right? So to clone it into that particular folder so that I can cd into it and I can start working immediately. Usually when you're cloning a project for the first time, it's important, very important, you read everything about the documentation. And this particular repo has very, very rich documentation. Yes, it has a very rich documentation. Thanks to, anyway, let me just keep it as a secret. So go ahead, read the instruction. And we have Karen. Karen is supposed to work on this documentation. Because I mean, if I'm cloning the project for the first time, I don't even know what to do, right? So, I mean, the documentation is supposed to carry as much information as possible to get people started, because the richer a documentation for a particular project or tool, the more probability that people are going to contribute to it. If your documentation is very very scanty, people are most likely not going to contribute to it. So put as much effort as you put in writing the codes to your documentation. Very important. So I'm done with cloning it. So I could just navigate to that particular project. So the cd thing is not a git command, it's just a follow command. So I'll just ccn. So I'm in the master repo. So we'll talk about repos and all of that, but I just want to be as fast as I can. So what I'll do, of course, I know it's a node project. So the first thing I will have to do is to try to install the dependencies before I can even run the project. So I'll just quickly do the npm install, and then I have the project running. We are not talking about the project right now. I'm just talking about Git. So that's how to get a local copy. And as you can see, I'm on the master branch, so you can switch to whatever branch you want to work on. Assuming I want to work on a particular feature, of course, I wouldn't want to work on the master branch. So I want to quickly switch to a branch. So to do that quickly, you just do git branch with the option of -b, and then the branch name I want to give it. One of the conventions I use is that if I want to work on a feature, I'll just do feature dash, maybe what I want to work on. let's say user row. So, oh, what's going on here? Sorry, it's supposed to be git checkout dash feature user row. So as you can see, what I have here, I'm switched to that particular branch. So I can start working on that branch. Definitely don't want to work on master. Please don't work on master. But it's possible that, oh, I forgot. I'm working on master and oh my God, what do I do now? You can still use the same command and it will, after you commit your code, it will copy everything you've worked on to the new branch. So you don't have to start panicking. So we're good with that. Just look at that. Now that's for a fresh project. How about for an existing project? Of course, it's possible that, oh, I have an existing project. I'm already working on it, but I want to push it to Git. It's pretty easy. So you have to follow certain commands. The first one, of course, is to do, so let's say, let me pretend this is an existing project I have. A I don't have a remote copy of it, but I want to version control that particular project. So the first thing I'll have to do for a fresh project, I don't have any fresh project, but the first thing I'll do is to do a Git. Now I know this might be a bit scary. All these Gits down. We have a saving grace here because Git has a GUI application that you can use. I think Git desktop, GitHub desktop. So you can just go ahead and install it. It will save you the headache of always typing command. But I would advise you to learn some of these commands. You don't have to know everything. There's just a bunch of them that I don't know all of them. I mean, I just know just a few. And I Google them a lot because I tend to forget them. So please, there's nothing superpower about this thing. Just Google them. The only thing I know you might have issues is, okay, um, what do I have to do in this case? Or what's the best command for this to achieve this sort of thing? So you just need to know just a few of them: git clone, git commit, git push, maybe git, what else? There's just a few of them, I think 4 or 5 that you would use often. And those are usually good enough because the reason I would advise you to learn these git commands is because most projects, and to be fast, really, most developers, that's what they actually use on a day-to-day basis. And you don't want to get confused with some of these commands. So just seeing it, you just easily grasp it. So I'm assuming this is a new project. So to actually make it, to allow Git to understand that, oh, I want to version control this project. So you just do a Git init. Maybe this sounds short form of I'm initializing Git to this project. So after you do that, and you go back to check the project, you see in a hidden folder there are certain things about Git that is going to be added, the Git ignore file and some of that. So you're just basically telling Git, oh, I want to version control this project. So after you do that, I'm sorry I'm not actually doing a real demonstration here because I don't actually have a project. I'm supposed to have had that, but sorry, I don't have that. So after I do the Git, I think after this, Tokwe would kind of give us a brief, some of those Git commands so that we can play with it. After that, you do a Git add. Git, notice I did Git add space dot. So what this will do is to stage all of your files and all of the changes you've made. And what does staging stand for? Like I'm about to push this thing, so I'm moving it to this particular box. These are the things I'm ready to commit and push. So this just basically stages all your changes and all your files. So after that, of course, comes the almighty git commit. So the command is git commit -m. Maybe the -m stands for, oh, I'm about to give a message. Then in in double quote or in single quote, you could just add your message in it, or first commit or initial commit. I always see this a lot. Initial commit means this is my very first commit. So after that, then you do your git push. But of course, there's no, if once you do a git push, you quickly see an error telling you, oh, but you're not there's no remote copy of this project. So what you quickly do, I have it here on my slide, this command, like git remote add origin. Oh God, I hate sounding like I'm talking jargons. So let me try to explain what this means. It simply means that I want to add, I want to be able to track that particular project. So I'll do a git remote add origin, means the origin of, oh God, it just means the remote version of this local project. So from this place, sorry, this remote repository URL, of course, this is not all I'm going to type. This remote repository URL is the URL that you've created, that the repository you've created to track that particular project. So you just paste it in there. So it's going to look like git remote add origin and then the URL. I hope I'm talking sense. So that's how you add it for fresh and for existing projects. So immediately you push, then you'd see on your profile, you see a version of it here. So next, let's talk about the GitHub features. Let's just quickly jump to it. The GitHub features. We have a lot of features that on GitHub. I mean, they're just a handful of them. I've talked about organization. If you remember when I came to my profile, if you belong to an organization, you're definitely going to see it here. So you can just, it has 23 members. You can see a brief description. So it has 23 members. It has 4 teams, and it has 4 projects. So this is everything about the organization, and I can see all the beautiful faces of the members. So, so let's talk about Git projects. When you come to an organization, it's not only on an organization, even on the repository itself, it also has Git project. So what's Git project really? So Git project is just a way to organize your work. I'm sure people that have used DevOps tools before kind of understand what I'm talking about. So it's just a way to organize what you're doing, like just to break it down. So if I quickly click on the projects of Code Clan, I can see other, like all of the projects under it. Each of these are sub projects under it, and each of the projects might have different members on it, different members. So this is just like, you can see this CCN UI, CCN design, CCN mobile, and CCN API. So these are all the projects under it. So I think I belong to the CCN API and CCN mobile. So I might, if you don't belong to a particular project under an organization, you might not have access to it. So that's, and like I said before, not only organizations have projects. Let me show you what I mean. So if I go to any of my repository, for example, let me look for, as you can see, it also has projects on it. So the organization is just like the top hierarchy, and then it's, and then other ones like the repos under it also have projects. So in it, you can also organize how you want to work. So this project has a lot of features in it, which we'll look at briefly. Let me get back to where I was coming from. How about teams? Yes, as you can see, like I said, we have 4 teams. The backend team, the front-end team, the mobile team, and you can see all the members in that team. and the backend team has 6 members, the front end team has all of that. So really, GitHub just has everything that you need to start off whatever kind of project you want to do. And just to remind you, GitHub is not only meant for codes. Someone, I mean, not like okay, so I actually met Friedman himself. I mean, the CEO of Git. Yeah, I was in a meeting where he was, and then there was a lady there with him. I think she was his PA or something. So she said she used GitHub extensively, but she's not a developer. I was like, how now? So it never came to me. It never came to me. But yes, you can use GitHub to. GitHub is just a uh, I said it before now. So GitHub is just like a software as a service. Really, it's just a service where you can just save anything basically. But majorly, what people are used to knowing it for is codes. But you can save your final year project here. When you make any edit, you can push it to GitHub. You can save anything, basically anything. As long as that thing can be written on a file, you can save it here. So you can see all the commit history on that file, and you can have all the features that uh, GitHub can offer. Not just code, but I mean, is more inclined to code. So how about issues? Yeah, this is the big one. Now, let me quickly go to one of the projects. Let me go here. So this is what a project looks like. These are all the to-dos, things that are to be implemented. These are the ones in progress. And these are the ones that are done. You can add more column based on what you and your team agree. And you can actually just automate the processes. So now, how does this thing happen? This beautiful cards you see here, they stem from issues, GitHub issues. Let me show you an example of what I mean. So let me just go here. Now, under this project, under this particular repository, the backend repository for CCN, I can see that there are 6 opened issues, 6 issues that are yet to be closed. Now, these issues are some of the things you saw on the project. Now, if you notice here, this particular repository does not actually have any project here yet. The project is connected to is on the top hierarchy. I mean, on the organization level, not on the repository level itself. So this whoever is in this particular organization can have a view of the what is actually going on, both on the mobile, the back end, the front end, without actually having access to the individual repository. So they can just have a complete view. However, each of the repos can also have their own project. But these projects are just based on the organization. We try to make it like that so that people don't kind of get confused and stuff. But you can, within your team, you can create your own project and link it to the issues. So these are the issues, like I said, and they are all linked to, let me show you where they are linked to. Can you see the project they are linked to? They are linked to the CCN API project. I hope you can see what I mean. And then the issues have who they are assigned to, the label, the project, and the milestone if it has any. Now, issues are just a way to, they are just tasks to be completed, really. They are just tasks to be completed. They can be opened by the team members. They can be opened by, if your repository is public, people can open issues, maybe to add features and even offer to contribute to the project. So, but if your project is private, no, I mean it's just the team members that can open issues. So issues are just a way to modularize what's to be done and just to a way to kind of just like a workflow on what's to be done, all of the issues, all of the parts to be completed, all of the moving parts of the application to be completed. So that's what issues are. So issues can be categorized by putting labels on them. As you can see, I can change the label of this issue to whatever it is. So this is just a way to organize what your issues are. So this issue is an epic. It can have a description of what an epic is. It belongs to this project. I can click on it and see which project and what under what progress it is. As you can see, it has a milestone. This milestone also shows when it will be completed and everything about that particular issue. Right. Whew, that's a lot. I've spoken about milestone. Let me just quickly click on one for you to see how a milestone look like. Well, I can't navigate to that place, but as you can see, the user permission is due by this time. I'm supposed to be able to click on this. Anyways, you can add milestone if you want. You can add more on your under your project. So if I go to CCN project, and then let's say I want to make a particular issue a milestone. So what is an epic? Let me try to explain what an epic is. An epic is just like the larger chunk of, I think it's the DevOps guys that will be able to explain this. But in my own view, an epic is like a major feature that is to be implemented. It can have other categories under it. So usually an epic should have a milestone when it should be completed and stuff. So for example, this user permission, as you can see, it has the user permission milestone. So I can see the milestone. I can also add milestone. I think this is the place where I can add milestone. Yeah, you can actually add milestone. So just by actually typing it, if it doesn't exist, so you can just create a milestone and put the timeline to it. So that's, I hope you've been able to understand what projects are, what issues are, and how they are all linked together. Please, we'll have time for questions. I just want to run through all of what we have in store. So that's just a brief explanation of what issues are, what projects are, and how they're all linked. Now, you might tell me, the obvious question is, oh, do I always have to come here to come and drag something to in progress and all of that? No, you don't always have to do that. So under the issues itself, you can select where you want this, where you the cat as in under what category is it right now? Like under what process is it right now? You can select that right from the points where you are creating an issue. Let me try to create an issue, for example. So, okay, can you give me an issue that we have to create on the back end? I can't say anyone out of my head right now. Tope, are you there? Or who can understand it? Yeah.
Let's say we want to create categories for our courses.
Okay, so
So
it's a
create,
feature, right?
yes.
This is not. This is just yeah. So this is just a convention that I like to use so that whoever sees the issue would know immediately what it is. So instead of doing this, you can also add labels to separate that. But I like to use this convention. So you said what? Sorry, I didn't.
Let's say we want to
Okay.
create course categories.
Okay. Create course categories. So you just give, and it has, like I said before, when I was talking about this Git issues, it has a markdown on it, so you can use all your markdown syntax, and you can preview it after you're done. So this can be an epic. Yeah, this sounds like an epic to me. Create course category is a broad thing. It comprises of a few things. So create course create course categories. I know it will have something like sorry, I'm trying to use the markdown. Create course category will have something like link mentor to or rather mentor should be able to create category. Admin should be able to let's just leave it like that. Mentors, a mentor. As you can see, when I previewed it, because I used a markdown syntax, I could see that it brings it out beautifully. Now, who am I assigning it to? I can assign it to myself, right? I can assign to self. I can also assign it to other people. You can assign a particular issue to multiple people that are part of the project. Let me find who else. Let's assign it to this guy. This guy. I know you will shout, calm down. You must follow us do this one. Okay, so the label is an epic, obviously. So under what project is it? Obviously, it's under the CCN API. Can you see how easy this thing is? I mean, it's pretty much straightforward. Very, very easy. So I can assign it to the CCN API. And then I can add a milestone for it. If that milestone doesn't exist, I can create one right now. Let me just go ahead and do it. Categories, course categories. Course categories. I can create that milestone right now. I can go ahead and edit it. Edit milestone and give it a date when it should be completed. Let's say a few days from now, and give more description. Course categories. I know a lot of people tend to just ignore description, please, but they're important just to kind of explain what the milestone is all about. So I'll just go ahead and save it. I'll just go back to what I was working on. This is weird that I have to go back like that. Okay. What was I doing? Oh God. Talk about see what you've caused to. Oh my God. Okay, let me go back to my issues. No, I can't lose that. I can't lose that. Sorry, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, so assign it to myself. Let's say just a few more people. I add the label epic. I can add more than one label too, you know. Yeah, I can add more than one label. But it doesn't make sense for something to have an epic and a feature. It's just like, I mean, does it even make sense? Sorry. What am I doing? Oh God. Sorry, guys. Epic. Projects. like I said, it's the same API. Milestone, course category, that was the corporate. Yeah. So, and that will be it. Once I submit, whoever was assigned this project is going to get an email and say, oh, you've been assigned the project, and go ahead and look at it. Yeah. So immediately you have it here. So you can basically choose what progress is it on. Is it to do, yet to be started? Is it in progress, or is it done? So let's say it's a to do, right? Now, let's say when we work on certain, when we're done working on this and we want to commit, we can target this particular issue and close it just by using our commit message. If you just say, it has some keywords. If you're writing your commit and you say close this, then you make reference to this, it will automatically close this particular issue and take it to the done category here. I, I hope I'm making sense. If I'm not making sense, would have time for questions. So let me just quickly go back to what I was saying. Now, let's talk about GitHub Actions. Now, what is a GitHub action? A GitHub action is more like your CI and CD that you know about. I think GitHub actions are a relatively new concept or feature on GitHub. So instead of having to install all of the third-party services that actually helps you automate some of the processes you do, GitHub has have it right now on their service platform for you to be able to automate your processes. So a typical process could be something like, oh, if I push, I want to do CI, continuous integration. Then after that, I then want to do CD, continuous deployment. You can actually do all of that in one place instead of installing third-party tools like Travis CI, which is for CI, obviously, or Cycles. I think there's another one called Cycle CI. Those are some of the popular ones. Oh, GitHub Action can actually help you automate some of those processes. Let's take a look at one. So I'll just quickly go to that particular project. As you can see, there's something called GitHub Actions. Yes, and the obvious question is, oh, why didn't I do it on the organization level? No, I mean, it's not available on the organization level. You want to automate something you have in your repository, not on the organization, right? So that's the obvious reason why it's here. So, like I said before, so these are some of the automated process. We have a labeler process. We have a no CI process we have on this particular backend. You can add your own by just clicking on this new workflow, right? So you can click on this new workflow. They already have a template that you can use. This is one. If I want to use for Node.js, I can just click on this. And there are a ton of templates you can use to just speed up your automation process. Um, let me pretend I want to use this. Actually, we use this for now. I just want to explain how this works. So GitHub Actions are just YAML file. I don't know what YAML stands for, but it's usually called YAML. I know it has one funny meaning like that. I can't remember. You can check that out later. So what this simply says is, oh, this is the name of the action. Now, what triggers the action is this. On push, on the master branch, make this job happen. Or when a pull request happens on the master branch, trigger this job. That's just what it means. These are the triggers for the actions. So what does the job does? Oh, first it builds using this um, platform, Ubuntu latest. I think that's Linux. And then the strategy just means the node version. You can add other strategy. There are other strategy maybe for MongoDB and stuff. Please, this is just a brief discussion. You can go and research more on it if you have time. And what are the steps that are taken? Oh, do this first. What this does is it kinds of English. It kind of checks
Oh,
out.
good.
So it checks out the application into like a temporary repository so that it doesn't mess up your current repository. So that's what this does. And then this is the name of the node platform it's using. And then this is the version. And then it will then run all of these scripts. You should have had this script on your package.json, like npm run build. You should be in your package.json. If not, then you add this flag to say, oh, if it's present, run it. If it's not present, then leave it alone. So depending on what you have on your package.json script, you just add it here. That's just it for GitHub workflow. So really, I don't need Travis CI. Sorry, I think this is a huge blow for some of those third parties. They are not going away anytime soon until at least people get used to GitHub Actions. I use it a lot. I have it on this project. I'm sure you saw some of it. I have it on this project. We have 2 actions there that are just labels. This is just simply labels. It's failing. I'll deal with it later. And then this builds my project and runs the test. So just like my continuous integration. As you can see, I didn't have to install Travis for it at all. It just happens right here. That's what I'm saying. GitHub is a bomb, man. I don't know who wants to, for Microsoft to churn out $7 billion to buy it. They should know it's the bomb. So let me quickly go to the next one. We've talked about GitHub Actions and GitHub Flow. GitHub Action is basically the same thing as GitHub Flow. If you want to set one up, just come there and set it up, or just create a folder that looks like this. .github/workflow. Then in the workflow, you have your YAML file. So GitHub will automatically try to run this based on what trigger you have on it. I showed you some of the triggers. Okay, so pull requests. What are pull requests? You know, when I started Git, I didn't really understand. Okay, I made a pull request to master. What does that even mean? It doesn't sound right. I made a pull request to master. What it simply means is that I'm requesting that the edits and the work I did, I'm requesting for it to be merged to a particular branch, usually master or the develop branch. So assuming I complete what I'm doing on this feature user row, and then I push, right? Obviously, it's not going to push to the master branch. It's going to push to same branch as this. So I have a remote copy and I have a local copy. But of course, it might not be, everybody might not have visibility to this, or people don't really care about other branches. The branches that people care the most about is the master branch or the develop branch, right? So if you want the work you've done to be the current version of the master branch, or to be the current version of the code base, you have to make a pull request to the master. Or in other words, you have to request that your work be merged to master. I think it makes more sense like that. Pull request to master. That doesn't sound like English. Anyway, so you have to make a request for your work to be merged on master. Most of the time, you don't have the permission to do that on your own. If not, a hacker can just write rubbish to steal people's money and then make a pull request to master and merge it by themselves. Usually, you don't have the permission to do that. That's why it's a request. That's why it's called a pull request. Please pull my changes to master is a request. The maintainer of the code could do that or not do that. depending on his mood. No, you should do that really. So if I make a there's no pull request now. As you can see, there's a place to see all my PRs. It's usually called PR. I mean, that's a dope name they gave it. PR. Prayer request. It's not prayer request. It's pull request, please. All right. So when you make a pull request, the maintainer of the code would see it, and basically everybody will have will see everything that has to do with it, and then they can check what you've worked on. Um, Usually standardized processes that there are reviewers for every pull request that is being made, so that people can review the code to make sure that you are not being wicked or installing virus or just wrecking people's life, because there are a lot of this project that open source project that people's life depend on. So I mean, there have been horror stories on people that just slipped up and were too tired to review codes, and you know, bad things happened. So this is where your pull request is, or your request for changes to be made to master. But most of the time, you can only make such kind of pull request directly to a repo if you're part of the member. Usually,
it's 15 hours.
If you're not a member of the repo, you wouldn't be able to make that pull request directly. You would have to fork. Forgive me. That word is wicked. And anyway, you get what I mean. You have to do this thing here. So you click on it. When you click on it, what it does is to kind of duplicate, like clone the whole project, but into your own version of the remote. Into your own version of the remote. I don't know if you get what I mean.
Into your own repository or something. Or you're into your own profile.
Okay, let me try to explain, right? Now, what's the difference between a fork and a clone? That's what I'm trying to explain. Now, cloning, the normal cloning you see here, right? I clone it on my local. You have a remote copy, you have a local copy of the project in your machine, in your development machine. But how about if I want to have a remote copy of it, right? That sounds cool. I want to have a remote copy of it, so that remote copy is usually on GitHub, right? So all I have to do is to fork it. I'm sure all of these people, those you see, let me click on some of them. These people have forked it. You see the exact copy of it here. This is not Code Clan. This is Ayoseye, right? He has a copy of it on his remote branch. I hope you understand the difference now. It's not Code Clan. This is Code Clan's copy. This is Code Clan's copy of it. So usually he will work on that remote, or he will clone his own remote version to his local environment, work on it, push it to his remote version. Once he pushes it to his remote version, he can make a pull request. When he makes a pull request, the pull request comes to this guy, to the code, to CCN's version of it, so that the pull request can then be seen here. But it's originated from the remote version of the project. Am I making sense? You can ask your questions later, please, but let me just go ahead to try and cover. I think I've been able to cover the major features of GitHub. What else do I have? Okay, now you want to contribute to an open source, which is obvious. What is this open source kind of things that everybody has been talking about? So why should I make my project open source rather than closed source? That's the topic for another discussion. But let's say you want to make contributions to open source, right? Now, assuming you are just some random person. I want to I'm looking for what to contribute to, right? Obviously, first place I'll come is the README. And like I said before, if the README is not attractive enough or is not explanatory enough, people would just tend to drop out. I mean, I don't want to start trying to spend days trying to understand what the project even does. So if the README is elaborate enough, people could, the first thing people would do, or I will do if I want to contribute, I have access to this project. If I don't have access to it, I won't be able to, I can clone it locally, but I won't be able to make pull requests to it directly. So usually the first thing I will do after reading the README and I like what's going on, I will fork the project. You get? So that I will have a remote copy of it. Then once I fork the project, I have a remote copy of it. It's my own. I can play with it however I want to. I can then what's it called now? I can then clone the remote copy I have into my local repository, work on it, push it back, and then make a pull request to this guy to the original version. So it's something like, oh, okay, so there's a remote version that is the mother, and then there's a child version of it, which are the forks, and then there's a further child version of it. You cannot directly make a pull request from your local repository directly to this place if you're not a member of this repository. However, you can do that using your fork. So you can push to your own remote copy and then make a pull request here. I hope I've been able to explain that. So that is basically how you contribute to open source if you want to. So like I said, you read the README, obviously. Then the contribution, instruction, and standard. Every open source have their own standard of or how do you make a commit, the commit message, the pattern, how you make a commit message. Like the standard, for example, is if I want to make a commit message, right? As you can see, like I was saying, I created a branch, and the branch, what does it do is a feature. So I add a feature prefix. So if, for example, I want to make a commit, the standard I've seen most of the time is, so I say git commit slash dash m. If it's a feature I'm adding, right, I'll do FET column, and then I just created magic, right? Now, I added this feature. Like I said, you can automatically close an issue right from your commit message. You remember I mentioned it that each issue has a number. So I can just say it closes number 13, or it fixes, it has keywords, fixes number 13. You just see that it will connect um, this the work I've done to that particular issue. If everything works out fine, it will just close the issue. But if I don't want to close it, maybe I just want to reference it, I could just put the number without any of the keywords. You can learn more about the keywords when you just Google it. It's on GitHub. You can just Google it and you see more about the feature. So that's for that. Then Fox, I've talked about Fox. Fox compared to your local repository. So thank you very much. I know we overshot our time, but I mean, it's time for questions. If you have any question, I'm open to take questions, and Tokwe is open to take questions, and all the big men and the senior devs we have in the house are also open to take questions. Now, thank you, guys.
Okay. So this is the question and answer time. So I've read some of the questions on the in the comment section, so that we take it one by one.
Should I stop sharing, or I should keep sharing?
I just leave the sharing there.
Okay.
So the first question is from Benga. Benga says, "Are you saying let me see now. Okay, I think you have answered this one that I asked. The first one is, must that branch exist before we check out to it? And if it doesn't exist, how do we check out to a new branch? I think you mentioned that
Okay,
that
okay.
Git checkout that should be.
Yes.
So let me take another question. Oh, you're saying that Benga also is saying that, are you saying GitHub can also serve the purpose of a Google Drive, for instance?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Because you can basically push anything that is a file to it. So yes, it can. Please don't abuse it too.
Okay,
I was not the one that secret. Yes, you can push anything to it.
okay, so Benga is also asking, please, Fortune, if I get you, you are saying forking is getting a version of the project on my own GitHub profile, right?
Yes, yes, that's exactly what it means.
Okay.
Yes, that's what it means. So usually, if you want to contribute to a project, can't you can clone it, but you can't just push directly to the project. So the best way to go about it is you fork it so that you have a remote version of it. You see it on your profile. Once you click on your profile, you see it on it. Then you can work on it. Then after working on it, you can push to that remote version you have before you then make a pull request. I know it sounds like a merry-go-round, but that's just the way it is. Before you then make a pull request to the original version where you're making contributions to.
Okay. And if you have more questions, please put in the Zoom group chat. Okay. So Benga is having another question.
Okay.
It says, if I get you, issues are your to-dos, right?
Yes. Issues are your to-dos, basically.
Okay. So another one is, how
How
do
do we
we
know what
what
label
label and issues should belong to?
it just depends on what you want, how your team has chosen to organize it. Like I said, there are standard labels. You can add your own labels and their own description. So it just depends on how your team decides to organize the project. Like I gave a good example of epics, for example. So epics are like one huge thing you want to do, but um they can have sub issues on them. So I mean, so you can just label it as an epic. Epic is not one of the default labels, so you can add that by yourself and work on it. Yeah.
Okay. Um. Okay. Also, Echefu Louis says, when working remotely and you create a repo and everybody push to it, then push to the master later, right? Oh,
Um, you can't, like I said, this usually the standard is you can't push to the master directly, except of course you are the owner of the project. But even at that, it doesn't make sense for you to push to the master directly, because how about if other people have, because usually everybody would start with the version of the master, and then you, because you're the owner of the project, you push the master. It will go off sync with the people that are making master their reference. So usually you have another branch where you work on, and then you do a PR to master. Usually that's how it's supposed to be.
okay. Um, Semite again says, uh, what is the importance of label, either IP pictures, features, and so on? I think you
Yeah,
have
like I said,
explained that.
it's for organizing your issues into certain categories, so that like as I made an example, I created an issue. As you can see, I follow a particular convention where I have something in square bracket and I still label it, so that just immediately when you go to the issue, you see what this issue is categorized under. So I can even filter. Let me show you what I mean. I can filter by under the project, um, under the project here. Uh, I can filter by a particular label. So under the project, let me see. Okay, I have epics, right? If I click on epics, you can see other disappeared, just the epic features here. So that's some of the importance of categorizing your your issues with with labels. You get, so I can see my test related. I can see let me filter this. You can see what I mean, right? So yeah, so that's one of the
So,
importance
so,
of
it, so
doing
at a
that.
glance, you can see that, let me work
Yeah,
on an epic, and or let me see
exactly.
all this small stuff and knock it. Okay. Okay. So,
Yeah.
Karen is saying, is there and difference between merge and fetch in trying to get the latest version of code when you're working
Yes.
collaboratively?
Yes. Yes. So let me explain what the difference are. So merge is like obvious, just like it sounds. I'm merging something into something. So assuming I'm working on a feature branch, for example, and master branch is ahead of my current branch, which is the feature branch. The what I'm supposed to do is to merge master to my future branch or to the current branch I'm working on. You understand? So that my current branch is ahead of master, or I have everything that master has in my current branch so that I can then work on it. That's what merge is.
Um,
Fetch. Do you get that part?
yeah, because I think you have to have the copy of your master in the current branch you're working on. I mean, the
Yes,
latest copy of
because
the master.
if you make a PR and master is different from, so usually your current branch should be ahead of master with the current, like it should have every content of the master plus
Plus
your
your code.
changes, right? Yes, plus your changes. That's the only way it will allow you to do a PR to master. If they are not in sync, right, it will complain and tell you something about the head in
Conflict.
the master is not the same thing as
Yeah.
that of, or it will tell you there's a conflict, one of that error. However, what fetching means is that, let's say I have a local master um, copy. For example, I have a copy of the master locally, and then there've been some other developers have made PRs to master, right? Obviously, my local master will be, the remote master will be ahead of my local master. The only way I can have them in sync, the only way I can check that, oh, what is the current status of the remote master and my current master, is to fetch. So fetching just say, oh, hello here, please, can I know if my remote master is ahead or behind the the remote master. So it's just a way to check whether what's the status, what's the difference between your current and local branch and the remote branch. So that's what fetch is. So usually when you do a fetch, it will tell you what the differences are. Then you can then decide to pull. Pulling means I then want to merge what's currently on that remote branch to my local branch.
Okay. Thank you. Um,
Yeah.
HFO Louis says, what happens when you stage? I don't get why we
What
stage
happens when
before.
I stage? Okay, so like I said before, staging just means that all of these things are ready to be committed, right? All of these changes I've made are ready to be committed. I can stage something and then continue working. The latest changes I made will not be in the stage file. I don't know if you get what I mean. So it's just like a a way to organize your commits and say, let's say I added letter C to a particular file, right? First, I will have to stage it first to say, oh, these are the things I'm ready to commit. Then I can keep working. If I add letter CD on it again, right, it will not be part of the stage changes. I'll have to stage it to be able to commit it and then push it subsequently. I hope
Okay.
I
Okay.
answered.
Um,
Yeah.
Olufemi Anjorin says, is Epic like a standard label? I think you mentioned something like it's not a standard
Yeah.
label.
Yeah.
Tisha says, what is the what is the essence of creating an open branch? Because you guys
An
made
offer.
mention of GitHub.
Oh
What's
God.
happening?
Oh, this
Oh my
offer branch is now.
Jesus.
You know, please, can we give them back their mother and father? I'm tired of this.
Oh my God.
See, really, okay, so what we're trying to do then was to find a way for all of our projects to be under a
The same
particular
level.
repo, right? So an offer branch, to the best of my understanding, I'm not a GitHub or Git expert. It's because I've kind of used it for a while now. I kind of have a few experience with it. So um, I'll try not to talk in the nonsense, in the thing that does not have
Oh.
any. Okay, so what an offer branch simply means is that no guy is tracking it. You know, usually things are connected. All the branches you have on GitHub are connected to each other in one way or the other. So you can easily see the history between them. You can click on it and you see the history between them. But an orphan branch just decide that, you know what, I'm on my own. I don't want anybody to be related to me. Although you can create branches off and off orphan branch so that those branches would then be related to the orphan branch. But an orphan branch just see delete every connection I have with other branches. I don't want that. So that's why it's usually called an orphan branch. Maybe I might not have explained it correctly in a way, but please just read more on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Binga says, so should every developer in a team create their own branch and always push their added feature to it? Won't there be too many
Yes,
branches?
okay. So usually how it works is that I see funny, funny thing. What people do, they create a branch with their name on it. Well, it depends on the standard of your organization. What your team does is fine, but usually branches should, in a brief, um, in briefly explain what you're working on. So yes, you should create your own branch, and then when a pull request is done, there are options to choose from. When you do a pull request, you can decide to squash. I know I'm using some time. You can squash. You can do a lot of your pull request strategy. Could be that you want to squash. Maybe I might be missing something, but what squashing means is that
Deleting
if
that
I
branch.
yes, if the pull request succeed, delete that branch, like delete the remote branch, so it will still be clean. However, I know the question might come arise asking me that, oh, how about the other branches I have locally? Yes, there's a way you can delete those branches by pruning, git prune. Like I said, there are a lot of git command, but we just the ones we use every day. That's the one. So you can do a git prune and see all of the branches that have been deleted from the remote that you still have. So you can do a git prune to delete those branches.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Karen is giving a comment here saying that, okay, I get it now. At any time, my local or forked repo should contain the same content, that's code, as the master.
Yeah,
On my
yeah,
local repo being ahead of the master means I have extra content, not in the master yet. And then the
yeah,
PR can be made. Yeah, that summarizes
yeah.
it.
That is it.
Semite again says in the pro
Okay, please, we'll take like 3 more questions, Joe, please.
in the
Because we
process
don't
of
have,
merging and the new pull requests. In the
yeah.
process of merging and the new pull request spoiled the old one. How can one go back to the old one? How is reverting?
Okay, yeah, you can revert it. That's why it's called version control. I mean, it's not for paparazzi. Let me just give you a short story on that. So I have a very, as this my team member, if you have, like, he's a nerd. Obviously he's a nerd,
Oje.
but I lost all respect for him one day when he keeps committing the same message. Like if he wants to commit his code, he will say commit. How can commit message be commit, for Christ's sake? What's now the use of using Git? So if he wants to commit, he will just write commit and commit the. So I approached him one day. I'm like, guy, I saw all your commits and he keeps saying commit, commit. Is that a mistake? Are you using a tool to automate this or what? He said, that I should forget that in Jared, that Git is just for a fizzy. What the hell? How can someone say Git is for a fizzy? So back to your question. And what was the question again?
Why did you now say that story there? In the process of merging and the new
Okay,
pull request,
so
spoiled the
so
old one.
yes. Yes, it's possible to revert to the former one. And there's a command for it. You look for the head of the commit. It sounds funny, right? Each commit has a hash on it. So that hash is like a unique identifier for the snapshot of that project at that point in time. So you can revert to that particular point in time. So that's why it's important that don't make one big change before you do a commit. Please, every major change you make, commit it. Even though you are not ready to push now, it's a good practice to always commit your codes. Always commit your code for any little to medium change you make. Commit it. Don't wait for one big bang before you make a commit because it will be much more difficult to revert
Revert.
to what you had before. Yes.
And if you
So two more questions, right?
I also want to chip in
Yes.
that if you do a pull request on GitHub, once the PR is complete, there's always a revert button.
Exactly.
So you can just click on that revert button and it's
Yes.
revert.
Yes.
Okay.
And by the way, if this thing is too much for you to take, like I said before, there's a GitHub ID, Git, what's it called? I think it's called
GitHub
Git,
desktop.
GitHub Desktop. Yes, you can use it. It's quite intuitive.
Okay.
So would that be all for the or should
Yes,
we
that
more
should be
question?
all.
Okay.
No more questions. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you, people of God. Please, when are we having the meeting for front end? That's the last one before we start off, right?
Okay. Let me stop the recording. Then we'll talk about
Okay.
how do you stop recording. Okay, yeah.